Hey St. Catharines, and welcome to a new episode of talkSTC. I am Mayor Matt Cisco. I am so excited to be here with you, coming into your homes to talk once again about all the great things that are happening in our community and all the wonderful stuff that is happening in St. Catharines and Niagara. Recently had the chance to meet with residents who took part in Read STC, the challenge over the course of 2024. I want to thank everybody who participated in Read STC. That was our monthly book club talking about different styles of books, different themes for each month. All the folks who got involved on social media and talked about the books they were reading, thank you to you. We are continuing the Read STC program this year. We've got another challenge going on, so head over to stcatharines.ca and search for Read STC, or go on to my social media, Instagram. We talk about Read STC all of the time, all of our book picks. I do appreciate everybody who's gotten involved. I also want to say thank you to everybody who's been a part of Move STC. Also on social media, encouraging the community to get out to move, to try different things, try a CrossFit class or head to the gym or go for a hike in Short Hills. All of those opportunities to get out and move a little bit more in our community. I recently had the opportunity to attend the Marine Dinner in January. We have a very thriving marine industry in St. Catharines. We've got the canal running through it, and although the bridges going up can be a bit of a pain, it means that there are jobs in the marine industry that folks in our community are able to take advantage of. So I want to thank the folks at HOPA and the other marine industry employers, Heddle Marine and all the rest of them, for inviting me to that. And I'm looking forward to Black History Month. We are raising the Pan-African flag at City Hall on February 3rd. Always a good time to talk about the Black history that exists in our community and is such an important part of our community's broader history. Today's show, we have a couple of great guests. This is a pretty sports-themed episode. Up first is my good friend Paul Coates, the president of the St. Catharines Athletics Lacrosse Club. We're going to talk all things lacrosse, and hosting of the 2025 Minto Cup here in St. Catharines is coming August. Thank you for being here, Paul.
Great to be here. Good to see you, Matt. Thank you.
Excellent. And after that, we're going to be joined by Mal Romanin, the owner and director of operations of Dead Red Sports and Entertainment, to talk about the newest baseball team that's coming to town. But we start with lacrosse. Paul, you've been president of the St. Catharines Athletics Lacrosse Club for 14 years and board member before that. That's a time commitment.
Yeah, it's you know what? I guess it's good and bad because every year we go to our annual general meeting and nobody else puts their hand up. And I think anybody who's volunteered in any level of sports or any type of sports would say the same thing. But it's been great. Both of my boys played for the Athletics. They were treated extremely well by the organization. Some original coaches, guys like Don Smith, guys like Morris Kahn, treated both my boys exceptionally well. And I was like, I can give back. And one of the things I've always said is, you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. I still work full time, but I like to tackle tasks, and we've now been able to put together an exceptional group on our board that oversees both the Junior A and Junior B team. And some of those people have been with me the entire time. So I'm going to throw one name out there specifically, Joanne Vince. She was involved with the Athletics before I was involved. Her son is Matt Vince, the best goalie of all time, plays for the Buffalo Bandits. And Joanne continues to come back, is on our Minto Cup committee. And she's just a great volunteer and just one of about a dozen that we have on our athletics board.
That's phenomenal. It's great when you're able to work in an organization where you've got committed volunteers. I will say, though, I sympathize, because it's one of those situations where if you don't train your replacement, you're probably going to be stuck in this job until, forever.
And my wife reminds me of that on a regular basis. Happened to bump into Marty Calder, the well-known Brock wrestling coach and Olympian, and she made sure that he was aware of that my timeline on this is not life.
Okay.
But it is still a lot of fun, and I do enjoy the game.
That's funny, because I've had the same conversation with my wife about this job, and she sort of said, you only have X amount of years. And I'm like, okay. Message received. I got that.
Exactly.
We all have bosses. It's just the way it is.
That's right.
So, you grew up in Toronto.
Yes.
St. Catharines is home now. You've been a sports guy your whole life. You're in the college and university bookstore market. How does that fit into sports? I can see the natural evolution, like your love of sports and that, because they do kind of intersect, don't they?
Yep, I've been, I call it rags, but I've been in the clothing business, and we sell all the crested clothing to the college and university bookstores, a shirt similar to what you're wearing, and we do that. I handle Newfoundland to Saskatchewan, and I sell to the McGills and the Queens of the world and Brock University and all of those college bookstores where you buy crested clothing and things like that. And then along the way, I've always been a sports junkie, so I will watch everything from NHRI drag racing to tennis. I'm a hockey nut, obviously love lacrosse. My wife will tell you, she walks in, I'm watching rodeo some days. I love sports.
Do you ever get into Aussie rules football?
I have watched it, yes.
Okay, go Bombers. I'm a big Essendon fan, so I need to throw that out there.
Yep.
So, but I mean, lacrosse, clearly your passion. How did your passion for lacrosse start, and how did it grow to where it is today, where you're the president of the A's?
So interestingly, growing up, I grew up in Rexdale, which is just near the airport in Toronto, and a bunch of my buddies played lacrosse. I lost my dad when I was 12 years old. He unfortunately passed away of a heart attack. My mom, with 6 kids, couldn't put us into organized sports. But I started helping out with the Rexdale Warriors, and in fact, McLean Hunter, which was at the time the cable network, and I used to do play-by-play for McLean Hunter back when Joe Nieuwendyk and Adam Oates played Junior A lacrosse back in the Toronto market and things like that. And I was kind of the voice of it, stayed through. A bunch of my buddies all played at the highest level and are still, their names are still very well recognized in lacrosse circles. And then when I came down here, my oldest son Dan, who I'm proud to say still plays in the National Lacrosse League 13 years later, he was at Westdale Public School, and a kid said, "You want to go out for lacrosse tryouts some night?" So he went and tried out for Spartan House League, and proudly run by Rose and Joe Ingeman, and that started us into the lacrosse loop. And then he just made his way up the ranks and things like that. Was able to get a scholarship at Canisius College under the tutelage of Randy Mearns, who's a well-known athletic and St. Catharines guy, and then he moved on and has continued. So and at that point, it comes down to they need some help. Yeah. So you volunteer in the smallest of ways, and then the next thing you know, Tracy McCready was the president, and she wanted to move on, so I bumped up into that president's role and been there ever since. But as I said previously, we have a phenomenal board. Can't say enough about everybody that does things from fundraising to bingo to 50-50 at our games and all the other sponsorship, you name it, and they all do it, and couldn't do it without a great board.
That's phenomenal. So, I mean, St. Catharines has a history, right? I mean, 1877, I think, is when the athletics started. Talk a little bit about that. Like, this is deeply embedded in the roots of the community. Like, I'm wearing a shirt that says 1876. 1877, the lacrosse team sticks around. I mean, you've been there from the beginning. So what's that about? Yeah, so it's phenomenal how far it goes back. During those time periods, it was on and off, but amazing. And St. Catharines with the Peterboroughs and the Orangevilles is known as the hotbed of lacrosse in Canada, not just Ontario, in Canada. So it has moved along. We have won, the Junior A's have won 6 Minto Cups. The Minto Cup is the highest level of minor lacrosse or amateur lacrosse in Canada up to 21 years of age, and it is the national championship for Junior A lacrosse. Our last win was in 2003. Again, Matt Vince was the goaltender then. They won in 2001, 2003. Proud to say since unfortunately passed away, but my father-in-law, John Dewar, was a member of, I think, the 59 team that won. So there's a real, history, and so many people are connected to people that played for the Athletics or knew somebody that won Minto Cups through their 6. And obviously our goal now is to get number 7, and that's what we shoot towards this August. Well, and that's perfect segue, because coming up this August in St. Catharines, we're hosting the Minto Cup this year. So, I mean, talk a little bit about that. How does the team look? St. Catharines gets an automatic bid, so we're there already. Correct. But, I mean, this is a quality club already, so, I mean, they were going to qualify anyways. Well, that is our full intention, and obviously we were supposed to host it back in 2021, and unfortunately that little name called COVID got in the way, and it's too bad, because we'd really built a team that was really strong,
did ended up winning the provincial championship that was held at the Toronto Rock facility that year. So we were real good. And since we've been rebuilding, ramping up with a really good group of players, and it's funny because I've been out of it so long, but they all go by like a 03 or 04, whatever birth date these guys are.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole group of them that way that we're ramping up. So Jeff Tchaikovsky, who's our general manager, Steve Toll, who's our head coach, they're working hard to assemble the really best team to put on the floor. Obviously, our goal is to win Ontario, and then whoever our intention is that we beat in the final would then be the fourth team that would qualify as well. So for the Minto Cup, there is a representative from British Columbia, there's a representative from Alberta/Saskatchewan, an Ontario, and then the host team. So that's how the four teams get made up. They play a round robin tournament. It's over the course of 1 week. And we're excited to be able to host it at the Meridian Center, home of the Ice Dogs, in downtown St. Catharines.
Definitely. It's fantastic. That's why we built the facility in the first place, to be able to host events like this. And speaking of that, we had a test event for the Minto just a couple of weeks ago. We had the Bandits and the Las Vegas Club in the NLL come and play an exhibition game. That was a partnership with you folks. Councillors Harris and Kushner came on board, My Score Fund. Talk a little bit about that. Is this something that we can sort of look to maybe try and do again in the future?
I think 100%. You know, we were able to sell out the whole lower bowl. We had 4,000 fans show up. People that I talked to had a great night. It was really well received. Like you mentioned, it was the Bandits. It was the Desert Dogs from Las Vegas. The team said it was a great opportunity for young guys to be able to, in a big environment, play, because normally they play in empty conditions during training camp. So that was great, and definitely something that you know, if we can work with the city and ASM, who oversees the Meridian Center, to be able to do it on an annual basis. And I think you'll have National Lacrosse League teams lining up to want to be able to play an exhibition game in St. Catharines.
Oh, I agree with you. The atmosphere in the building was absolutely fantastic, and the fans were electric. Like, it was a lot of fun for me. I've been to pro lacrosse in the past. I mean, it's an exhibition game, but to see the energy level and the compete level was pretty spectacular, and to just have to drive 10 minutes from my house to do it was a pretty nice treat.
Yes, 100%.
So the Cup's coming to us in August. What are the dates for the round robin?
So it goes, the tournament runs August 16th to the 24th. Each team plays in a round robin format, and then the team with the best record will move on directly to the 2 out of 3 final. There will be the teams who finish second and third will then play off in a one game that will then enable them to qualify to play in the Minto Cup final. Again, a 2 out of 3, and starts on a Saturday, potentially wraps up on a Saturday, and allows those teams to be able then to travel back to their various provinces. For a lot of these kids who are on scholarship, to get back into the United States for their NCAA opportunities.
Excellent. And you figure tickets are going on sale?
We're just finalizing things, and I would say at the latest by the middle of February, we're going to have a variety of packages available, both individual tickets and also for full week packages, and also some group rates as well.
Paul, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us today. We're going to keep pushing all those local businesses and the folks in the community who want to support your way. And thank you for the service that you're doing to the community. I always talk about youth sports is so important for kids. It gives them, for a lot of kids, purpose. It gives them something to look forward to, and it takes a lot of dedicated volunteers, and the time you've put in, I mean, it demonstrates how important that dedication is. So thank you for coming in today, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you certainly for the support to our sport of lacrosse, and also to your phenomenal assistant, Brianne, who gives back and is also involved in this event. So thank you.
Brianne Whitty is a good human being.
She is a very, very good human being.
Excellent. Thank you so much to Paul, and we will be right back after this break. Welcome back, St. Catharines. My next guest is my good friend and the owner and director of operations of Dead Red Sports and Entertainment, Mal Romanin. Mal, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Now, you are one of my favorite types of people because you're a big baseball guy.
I don't hear that very often.
Well, no, but you're a baseball guy.
Yes, I am definitely a baseball guy.
12 years as the director of communications for the Toronto Blue Jays. You've got extensive contacts with sports media across North America within Major League Baseball front offices.
Right.
You've got a solid knowledge of community minor baseball, Canadian elite baseball, the NCAA, and college baseball, and all levels of pro.
All the baseballs. Yes,
There we go.
yes.
And then you've also got 15 years of hotel management experience, and you were a communications prof at Centennial College.
That's correct.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
that's a pretty varied work
few
experience.
things on the side there, yeah.
That's awesome.
Previous careers, yes.
But I mean, the important thing though was baseball.
Yeah, no, that's been my passion, and I've obviously followed that through. It was always in the back of my mind. I originally started in the hotel business way back as a young fella, worked my way up there managing properties and things like that. But I had always been at the ballpark and always had an eye, if it was possible, to get into the game. And I found an opportunity to do that. And then, from there, obviously, kind of the rest is history, as they say. And there was a lot of travels in between to get to this spot. So
Definitely. Well, the community has a pretty good sense of my joy when it comes to baseball.
So do I.
I think from my perspective, like I'm a big sports guy, but that's my jam. That's the one. That's I may be admitting, as we're getting close to spring training, I'm like, I start to think about baseball around the second or third day of January, and I start zoning back into, okay, where are the trades going, who's going where. This year it started even before that because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in Major League Baseball.
It's like Christmas Day for baseball fans, right? Spring training.
This is it. So, we're getting close to that time. Pitchers and catchers reporting in just another couple of days, but first things first, and
Yes.
I have to ask this question because I've been getting asked a lot in the last couple of weeks. What is dead red?
Well, and it's I can understand the confusion with some people. Those in the game, dead red, and the reason I chose it, I love the connotation and everything. But when you sit dead red, you're sitting on a fastball.
Yeah.
So it's what the boys say in the dugout. You go up there, sit dead red. You're looking for a fastball, and obviously you're looking to do some damage on a fastball. So I like that tone with our parent company. And on a personal level, I designed a logo. I'm a big music fan too, so it kind of gave a little bit of an edge with our logo. If you've seen our logo,
yes,
I can kind of tie that, a bit of an aggressive look, but with baseball. So it's kind of my two passions. So that's where that came from. But it's definitely based around that term of sitting on a dead red fastball. So that's where that came from.
And I had explained that to a couple people. You did a much better job of explaining it right there than I did. So I appreciate that. So before we get into bringing the team to St. Catharines, your journey through baseball has been pretty interesting.
For sure.
So talk a little bit about that.
It's funny when I say I was operating hotels, but I was always down at the ballpark. I met a lawyer in Toronto on a street corner going to ball games, and he would do his own program and sell it for $1. And I got to talking to him all the time, and he asked me, at one point you got to know him, he said, would you like to score games off TV? They were doing this unique scoring system, putting this data together, selling it back to teams. Well, I started doing that. Long story short, a company bought them out and put them in the press box, and that was the precursor to MLB Game Day. So I was one of the original MLB Game Day employees in the Rogers Center, producing that data that you can just pull up on your app now, so you can watch that on in real time. So I used to do that by hand in my basement, watching Yankee games.
Oh wow!
And then they pay you a small fee, and you'd mail the slips to North Carolina, and they were selling this back to Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball finally said, why are we doing that? So that's what got me in the press box, and then obviously from there I got to know the Blue Jay staff, and obviously got to know them well, and when an opportunity came to be, I was fortunate enough to move into with the team in the public relations department, and did that for 12 years, and that was certainly an experience, traveling with them on the road and the different things you see them do and try to hide from them not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what young players can be like, but to be honest with you, most of them were obviously, they're like anybody in any other walk of life. It was just, they're just baseball players and good people, just like everybody else. But you got to see some certainly interesting things. But that's what led me into Major League Baseball, and that was a fun ride, And obviously there's, my son played as well, so I got to experience how the NCAA world worked, which is obviously going to be invaluable in this experience.
Oh, 100%. You're bringing a summer collegiate baseball team to St. Catharines. I find that for really deep, baseball fans who've been around, they know what that is. But for a lot of folks in St. Catharines, because there isn't summer collegiate baseball in
Correct.
Ontario, what is summer collegiate ball? Like, where do the players come from? How's that work?
Yeah, and we're so excited to do that. And the reason we are doing it is kind of that missing piece of Canadian baseball, and we're so happy to bring it to the Niagara area. Basically what it is, when kids go on scholarships to the U.S., obviously they're elite players. In the summer, they need to up their draft stock or just improve for their school, just play other elite players. So there's these pockets of leagues throughout the U.S. that feature these elite players. I mean, the most famous one's the Cape Cod League, where, obviously, the top first rounders usually end up there in their, draft years, junior, senior years type thing. But these other leagues obviously feature these elite talented players playing against other elite talented players to just, you improve your game. I kind of compare it to an OHL product where they're aspiring players. They're looking to play professional baseball, and this is a training ground for them.
Yeah.
This is their first experience with wood bats, like you would play in the majors or pro ball, and their first experience playing basically every day. I mean, there are days off here and there, but it's the grind of Major League Baseball, because even in college, they only play on weekends for the most part.
Yep.
You might have a midweek game, but it's all based around your trip, and you play 3 games on the weekend. And this is like, what's the grind like? Getting up every day, going to the yard, getting your work in, playing, go home, sleep, get up, do it again. So they learn how to handle that. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
You got to learn. So that's what we do.
So games are going to be played July and August.
June and July.
June and July, sorry.
And the first week of August
I was gonna say,
for playoffs.
You extend into August because we expect to be in the playoffs.
That's correct.
How many games can fans expect?
So it's generally about 46 games, to 46 to 50 games, obviously half at home. What I'm looking to do just in year one, I think we're looking to schedule some doubleheaders on a weekend just to have that family environment where you get the whole day at the ballpark.
Yep.
But we'll have between 23 and 25 home games. And it's kind of a little bit of a sprint, and it's going to be an extremely enjoyable time for everyone. I mean, the diehard ball fans, the families, even some of the younger people will have a lot of stuff for them to do, as they like to do. We'll cater it to the entire community. So that's, but we'll be there all June and July for you. With that, we can guarantee, and obviously we hope to see some people join us on the road too, because the league is in New York State, this league, and the beauty of it, we are the first Canadian team and the only Canadian team in the league.
Yep.
So that's what makes this kind of a little bit special. So we'd like to hopefully have some of the people travel with us and make our mark in that league and show them what Canadian baseball is all about.
Excellent. So playing in this league in New York, who are the opponents?
So off the top of my head, we're looking at Batavia, Elmira, Geneva, Auburn, Jamestown. I'm missing one somewhere in there. Basically, if some of your older viewers will remember, those are mostly the New York Penn League teams.
Yep.
When the Stompers were in town as a single A team, they were part of that New York Penn League. And then they kind of contracted the league. Well, not kind of, they did, Major League Baseball. So for a while, they didn't have baseball in those markets. So they went into a different league in New York State. And just recently, they've kind of pulled that into the Perfect Game League. That's what we're in. So it's relatively new. But they took all those New York Penn League teams with the stadiums, real professional look, and then kind of turned it into the Summer Collegiate League. So it's worked really well for them. So we're so happy to be a part of this.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of folks in the broader community that are excited. What sort of benefits can folks in the community look forward to, with the partnership? I know from the city's perspective, like, we're putting some improvements into that stadium now because we want to make sure that it's at a level that works for you, but that's also going to be a spin-off improvement for everybody else who uses the stadium as well.
Well, correct. Well, even for the users that are there. I mean, obviously we're coming in as friends of the community. Obviously, we want to seamlessly come in, and even for the users in the ballpark, they're going to get the upgrades that you experience. They're going to be able to use the facilities that we use. We're only there for those 2 months, so even around it. The equipment we bring in, the senior teams, obviously we're going to work well with them. But you're going to have a lot of families, a lot of players come in to see the city. A lot of people from outside the community come in and spend dollars in here. Obviously that area, Hartsel Road and all those businesses, I think they're going to see quite an uptick in business. And, the other thing that's nice too is there's another option for St. Catharines money to stay in St. Catharines as well. Because there's obviously over the summer, and as you know, there's so much to do and so much to do do outside. It's just another feature that the city has to offer to put the city on the map a little bit as well. It's a growing, vibrant city, and you know, adding another piece of something to do for families, for students, anything.
Yeah.
The older community, just another thing to do in the community certainly just brings a benefit. But there's going to be certainly a financial impact that this brings as well.
I always tell people there's very little that is better in life than sitting on the first base line, you know, nice hot sunny summer day with a Coke and a popcorn and a hot dog,
Right.
and just, you know, relax in the sun and enjoy a good game. Okay, so your company's Dead Red.
Yes.
That's not the name of the
That
team.
is not the team, although I'm sure we'll incorporate that on some special occasions. And if you like the Dead Red logo, we'll sell you a hat or two
there we
for
go.
sure. But that is definitely not going to be the name of the team.
So
correct.
what's going into the naming process?
So we just wrapped up a name the team contest, and a personal thanks to everybody that submitted names. We got a tremendous response. The community really stepped up. So we are literally getting together with our focus group Sunday morning before the Bills game, by the way.
Okay.
And we're going to sit down and choose a name. So we have to get that done. The focus is going to be something that features the area clearly. We want to make sure that, you know, those coming to the games that can be proud of the area. We're not going to name it, your standard names that you hear a lot. But we're really trying to find that unique name that we can market and build proper logo around. So we're going to decide that Sunday, this week.
So in terms of tickets going on sale, do you have a timeline for that? Because I know you're hitting the ground running real fast.
Yeah, our timeline to get everything done is very compressed. As you know, there's a lot of things to do, and never mind players and coaches as well. We have acquired a few players right now that we'll obviously let the public know. But once we launch the name, which we're going to do, if you don't mind me saying, we're going to have a press conference in early February, which obviously we're happy that you'll be a part of in the city. We're going to announce the name then and the winner. And shortly after, we'll be getting the ticket information together. The schedule is just being finalized as we speak. We're kind of negotiating a couple dates, but it's pretty much done at this point. And then we can work just to get whoever is our ticketing agent and getting all that up. We'll be selling as soon as possible. So I would think in early, probably late February, we'll be able to get that information out and obviously be open for business as far as ticket sales.
Looking forward to it once there's a name in place and then a logo in place. I'm looking forward to my hat.
Correct.
7 5/8, flat brim.
Absolutely. We'll be happy to share that with you.
Mal, thanks so much for coming in.
No
Thank you
problem.
for all the work you're doing. It's appreciated. And I look forward to having you back after the first complete season. We can talk about wrap up and what it looks like and what season 2 looks like.
A successful season.
Right on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will be right back after this. St. Catharines, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Talk STC. I want to say a big thank you to Paul Coates from the St. Catharines Junior Athletics. I want to thank Mal Romanin from Dead Red Sports and Entertainment. Fantastic episode, very sports-centric, so I promise the next episode maybe we'll look in other areas, but I do appreciate you taking the time, spending it with me here on Talk STC, and I will see you next time. Take care.